Okay, good morning, students. This is chapter 2, part 2, called the structure cabling. Good morning, students. This is chapter 2, part 2, called the structure cabling. Okay, let's quickly go on. Now, the structure cabling has a standard. The cabling for telecommunication has a standard, and the first standard that was developed in 1995 is called the TIA/EA 568. Okay, that's the first standard that was developed by a telecommunication expert or electronic expert to comply with the type of cabling that should be used to describe the physical layers. Now, the first major standard describing the structure cabling system for computer network was called the TIA 568A, and this standard was developed in 1995. Now, what is EA? EA is the Electronic Industry Alliance, and is a trade organization that lobbies for the interests of manufacturers of electronics-related equipment. Now, TIA stands for the Telecommunication Industry Association, which is also a trade organization that represents the interests of telecommunication industry. So, TIA 568 is a standard that was developed for cabling in telecommunication industry. Now, let's quickly take a look at the TIA 568A Addendum 5 that was published in 1999. Now, this states that the most important addendum to the TIA 568A standard was the Addendum 5, and this Addendum 5 was published in 1999, as we've said. This addendum defined the transmission performance specification for a 4-pair 100 ohm category 5E twisted pair cabling, and it is also the type of cabling recommended for use in today's computer network. Actually, it's now being replaced by a name called the Cat6 or Cat5E. Okay, and let's quickly move on. Now, we say the campus network. We've talked about in our previous subsection, we talked about the home network, and we've spoken about the office network. Now we want to talk about the campus, university campus, the military campus. There are many campuses around the world. Okay, now let's talk about the campus network. Now, the TIA 568A standard defines the minimum requirement for Ethernet telecommunication wiring in a building and between the structures in a campus network. So this standard 568, TIA 568A, is the minimum standard. Remember, nowadays there's a TIA 568B has been developed since year 2000, and we've been following that standard. But this 568A is the minimum standard, is the minimum requirement for the Ethernet telecommunication wiring in a building, and also between the structures in a campus. Okay, because a campus is a small geographical area, limited area, that's not for local area network, for local area network in networking. So it's not a big wide area. It's a limited areas for internetworking of LAN, local area networks. So a campus network consists of interconnected LANs within a limited geographic area, such as the college campus, military base, or a group of commercial buildings in the same metropolis, in the same local small area. Okay, now let's take a look in the B. Remember I said the standard B has been developed for cabling Ethernet networking. The standard B, let's quickly take a look at it, and this was developed in the year 2000, and the TIA 568B was published in this year 2000, and it has three parts. It has three types. The first part is called the TIA 568B1. and IATIA 568B1 was developed as a standard for commercial cabling. It's used for commercial cabling for areas where cable is for business centers, business area is used. Now let's take a look at the IATIA 568B2. IATIA 568B2 is developed for twisted pair media, and then the IATIA 568B3 was actually standard developed for optical fiber cabling. Okay. Now let's take a look at the 6 subsystem of a structure cabling system. The 6 subsystem of a structure cabling system. So we did this standard B, we did this IATIA 568 standard B. There are guidelines defining the 6 subsystem of a structure cabling system. Now let's take a look at these guidelines. The first is the building entrance. Okay, for a campus or for an office or for a small limited geographic area, we have what we call the building entrance. The building entrance is the point where the outdoor cable interconnects with the internal building cable. The outdoor cable interconnects with the inner internal building cable. So that place where they meet, where you interconnect them together, is called the building entrance, and it's also called the entrance facility, EF. Okay, it's also called that building entrance, or that point where they interconnect the outdoor cable and the internal building cable, where you interconnect them together, can also be called the entrance facility. Now both public and private network cables enters the building at this point. Both whether it is a public network or is a private network, any network outside that is interconnected with what we have a local area network in a building or in a campus network, that point of entrance is also called is where everything interconnects for networking. Now we have what we call the equipment room, a room set aside for complex electronics equipment such as the network server, the telephone equipment. So the room here we set aside to interconnect all the network equipments, which include a complex electronics equipment, which includes network server, the telephone equipment, and every other thing is regarded as equipment. Is that okay? Now let's go to backbone cabling. The backbone cabling, a cabling that interconnects the telecommunication closet. When we are doing networking, we have what we call the telecommunication closet. It's the big, it's like a big cabinet. It's like a big cabinet or a big wardrobe or a big closet where every network devices terminates. We call it a telecommunication closet, okay, where everything terminates for the network. Okay, we say the backbone cable. Now we are talking about the cable. Okay, the backbone cable is a cable that interconnects the telecommunication closet, the closet itself. So the cabling that interconnects this closet, telecommunication closet, in the equipment rooms, and the cable entrances in the same building between buildings. So it connects telecommunication closet and in the equipment room, and the cable entrance in the same building between the buildings and between the buildings. So this is what a backbone cable is used for. I'm going to show you. We're going to also show you the telecommunication closet and all what we have used them for. Now let's take a look at telecommunication closet itself. Telecommunication closets is the locations of the cable termination point that includes the mechanical terminations and the distribution frames. Okay, it's like the end point where all the cable ends. When you connect in LAN in a building, everything you go to terminate them in a point. That point is called the telecommunication closet. Okay, is the locations of the cable termination point, which include all the mechanical terminations and the distribution frame. Now the connections of the horizontal cable to the backbone wiring is made at this point. Okay, we say the connection of the horizontal cable to the backbone wiring is made at this point as well. Now this is also called the telecommunication room. Okay, it's called the telecommunication room. You are not allowed to just walk into this place, okay, except you are a network administrator and you are part of those harnessing this network. So it's also called a telecommunication enclosure, not only a telecommunication room. It's also, you can use the name telecommunication enclosure, TE, or a telecommunication room, TR. So in older system, in the old system, the network administrator might encounter two of the following types of push-down blocks in the telecommunication closet. There is what we call a push-down 66, a 66, and a 110 block. We have a 66 and a 110 block. These types of termination uses insulation displacement connector. So they use a 66 or a 110 block terminations. Okay, so this type of termination use insulation displacement connector (IDC) to terminate twisted pair cables, and are commonly used in their telephone systems, but not their computer networks. Okay, this one for terminating the A60 terminator, A66 and 110 blocks, usually used for telephony. Okay, now let's take a look at horizontal cabling. Actually, horizontal cabling, I think, connects from wherever it's coming, intermediate interconnect to a workstation outlets, usually horizontal cabling. Okay, horizontal cabling, or from the or to the, you can say what you call the wall plate, can connect from the intermediate interconnect to the wall plate. Okay, or workstation outlet. Now, horizontal cabling that extends out from the telecommunication closet into the LAN, local area network. It extends into the what we call the local area network. Okay, it's coming from the telecommunication cable itself, telecommunication closet itself, and terminates at the local area local area network, LAN work area. Now, horizontal wiring is structured in a star configuration running to each TCO or telecommunication outlet, which is the wall plate where the twisted pair cable terminates in the room. Okay? We said the horizontal wiring is structured in a star configuration running to each TCO. TCO could also mean telecommunication outlet. Okay, which is the wall plate where the twisted pair cable terminates in the room. I'm going to show you where a wall plate is. Each of these I'm going to show you with a diagram, and then you understand it better. Okay, now in each case, a TCO terminates telephone, fibers, videos, in addition to data in the same wall plate. Now, what is work area? This is the locations of the computers and printers, the patch cables, jacks, computer adapter cables, and fiber jumpers. So the work area is the location where you find all of these things: the computer, the printers, all the workstation, the patch cable, the jacks, the computers adapter cables, and the fiber jumpers. Okay, now let's quickly take a look at the diagram I spoke about. I'm going to use to explain this. MC is the main cross connect. Okay, this is the main cross connect. Now this main cross connect connects from this point, maybe the telecommunication closet could be here, because this is the main cross connect. Now it connects, you have what we call inter-building backbone cable. You see, this cable is thicker. These 1, 2, 3, they are thicker cables. They're thicker than from the intermediate cross connect to the telecommunication closet in this building. You know, every building has its own telecommunication closet. This is a building, this is a building, this is a building. Okay, you can see these are all buildings. Then this is probably to your ISP, your telecom, or the ISP, internet service provider. Okay, what you call the equipment room, or the equipment frame. Okay, this place. Okay, So this is a thick cable used for inter-building backbone cabling. From this building, this is a main cross connect and is a building on its own. Okay, from this building, you use this the backbone cabling to connect from a building to the next building. And when you reach the next building, you go to terminate at the intermediate cross connect. Okay, from the MC, the main cross connect, everything goes to the next building to the intermediate cross connect. You see, from here to intermediate cross connect in this building. From this main cross connect to the intermediate cross connect in this building. From this main cross connect to the intermediate cross connect in this building. Now, from the intermediate cross connect in every building, it goes to the telecommunication closet, or what you call the horizontal cabling, or the horizontal cross connect. Okay, so it goes to the horizontal cross connect, or the telecommunication closet. There, from also in this same building, a building is not just one terminal. So also to another direction, you have intra. This is not inter now. Intra. Within the same building, you use another cable. It's thinner. This cable is thinner than the cable coming from the main cross connect to the intermediate cross connect in this building. So you use a thinner cable, a thinner twisted cable, to connect from this main cross connect, this intermediate cross connect, to another telecommunication closet, or a horizontal cross connect, or horizontal cabling. So another terminal point. From this terminal point, you can see you go to the workstation outlet, what you call simply called the workstation. These are the workstation outlet, like where you have your computers, your printers, and everything connected to here for this particular building one. This is building one. This building one has all these interconnections. So you have the building backbone cabling you use here. But from a building to another building, you use a big inter. This is intra. Within the same building, use intra building. You say intra building. Okay, from one building to another, you say inter building. Is that okay? Now, from this main cross connect, you also go to what we call the equipment room, or the equipment frame. And from here, everything goes to the telecommunication company. Everything goes to the telecommunication company from here. That brings this network, just like electricity. When you wired all the houses in the area, everything goes back to the big electricity point. Now, the same thing here. Now, we look at this building 2. Let's go to building 2. From the main cross connect, you go to building 2. You use what we call inter-building backbone cabling. A big backbone. You can see it's very thick. These 3 cables have the same thickness. This one. So from here you go to the main cross connect.